Zwink, Mike. Yep, mic is up. Okay, so welcome back. Welcome to part 2 of the Land Before Time episode here. I readjusted the camera a little bit in the break. This is going to be a difficult one, talking about the Land Before Time 2 through 14. Where do we even begin? Part 1, amazing, perfect, amazing film. It's a staple. It's an 80s, 90s staple. There's a reason it's coming back to the big screen. It's an amazing film. It's perfect. It's Steven Spielberg. It's George Lucas. It's Don Bluth. It's all the perfect things. There's a lot of heavy themes going on. It's a film. Moving into the sequels, those are not films, those are little movies. And they're cutesy and there's not much depth to them. It's more, I don't want to say dumbed down, but they're more for like an elementary, group of kids, like preschool kids, really. It's more bright, colorful, fun. They're sing-along musicals. They just break into song and dance. And that's definitely not what part 1 was ever about. So before we get into 2, let's just talk a little bit about what came before part 2. So we have to talk about the ABC sitcom called Dinosaurs, which came out in 1991. The puppetry, the animatronics, done by Jim Henson's company. One of the most revolutionary shows that ever aired. It's amazing. It's so believable that those dinosaur suits are actual dinosaurs, people moving around. They get into silly situations. It's great. I think that might have been the start of, Dinosaur Mania, which started to take off a bit. I mean, everyone loves dinosaurs. Dinosaurs will never get old. They're always going to be profitable as well. I wanted to mention that because that all came out before Land Before Time 2. Another thing that came out, of course, Jurassic Park, another Steven Spielberg collaboration about dinosaurs. And in that, I just right around that time, We're Back, a dinosaur story, came out as well. And there's a sly little reference to Jurassic Park in 1993. That was another Don Bluth, Spielberg animated dinosaur collab. And I kind of thought when that came out, I wasn't sure if that was maybe a weird indirect sequel to Land Before Time or not. It was Spielberg, it was animated, it was dinosaurs. And there are some kind of heavier themes in that one as well. That's a fun one. Definitely check that out if you haven't. Again, right before Pixar's era. This is right before Toy Story came out in '95 and just totally took everything over. And then, lastly, I think on the heels of this, on the heels of Jurassic Park and Dinosaurs, which was really doing well in the ratings, number 1, and then We're Back, all that together in '93 is probably what primed the filmmakers to say, okay, maybe it's time to make Land Before Time 2 now. And they did. And I'm glad that Land Before Time 2 exists. It's actually a really fun movie. It's not as dark or heavy or as thoughtful as the original. And again, it's more bright and colorful. But it has a good, fun story to it. It picks up after the original. They all, at the end of the first movie, they made it to the Great Valley. And this one's called, the subtitle is The Great Valley Adventure. And so it kind of picks up from there. And it's, our 5 heroes again. And if I can remember the story, there's a great rock ridge that kind of guards the Great Valley from danger, sharp tooths and stuff. And through some mishap, they cause a hole in the wall. And in stomps 2 new sharp teeth. They're presumably a father-mother duo. And they're trying to outsmart these two new sharp teeth, and they run across a dinosaur egg, and they adopt it, and after it hatches, it's a sharp tooth. It's a baby sharp tooth, and they name him Chomper. And Chomper is a fun character. And then there's this whole theme with that of, oh boy, like, do we let him be our friend knowing that he's naturally our enemy and he belongs with these sharp teeth? And then the sharp teeth want him back, and it's a whole struggle. I'd say this is probably the most fun and thought-provoking that the sequels get. And Chomper is just a fun character. He's adorable. He doesn't really, well, in that particular movie, he doesn't really speak. When they bring him back later, they have him talk, and it kind of kills the cuteness factor a little bit. So that's part two, and then there's like these egg snatchers that are interesting characters as well, and they're not as easy to outwit. And so that was a fun little movie. It came out at a good time, and they definitely promoted it. What they did not really promote was part 3. I had no idea 3 was coming. I was still kind of digesting 2, and one day I was poking around at like Kmart or Pomida or one of those, and then there it was just sitting there on the shelf, Land Before Time 3. And I thought it was the cover for 2 for a minute because it was very similar looking. I was like, wait a minute, what is this? And then there it was, part 3. And this is the first Land Before Time movie that they start to kind of phone in. And the cover isn't all that special or memorable either. Just the carried over font and colors from the previous ones are really the only memorable thing about them. And I just remember being surprised and confused. Like a third one, didn't hear anything about it. I saw no commercials for it. Did this hit theaters? I have no idea. But I wanted to check it out anyway. And brought it home and started watching it. And right at the start, during the trailers, there's already, on the Land Before Time 3, there's a trailer for Land Before Time Part 4 already. And that one, it's a little clip that shows that there are 2 Littlefoots, 2 long necks. And that's kind of the whole fun story item there. Man, yeah, I remember seeing that and just being like, they're really doing a part 4 now already. I'm still trying to process 3, and 4 is happening. Wow, that's shocking. That's surprising. And then I did go and check out 4, and yeah, there's two long necks in there. And I don't remember much about it other than that. And then I just kind of stopped with the Land Before Times for a while, because then immediately part 5 was announced. And I was like, I might need a little break, so I just didn't watch any of them for a while. But then they, like clockwork, they released a new Land Before Time movie every single year. Basically, they only skipped 1 year, and it led all the way up to part 13 before they finally just decided to take a little break from these movies. I think we all needed a little break from these movies. I can't remember much about 5 through 13, to be honest with you. I did seek them all out. I watched every single one of them. 5 through 13, kind of, they run together. If I can remember correctly, let's look at the back here. It says what they all are. Number 5 is the Mysterious Island. I don't know. That might have been the one where Chomper comes back. It was either 5 or 6 where they bring Chomper back. And that one was the best of that bunch, I guess, just because Chomper's back and he was a fan favorite character from 2. But then I don't remember the rest. Here's the names of all of them. Let's see, we have I'll read them all in order. Part 2, The Great Valley Adventure. Part 3, The Time of the Great Giving. Part 4, Journey Through the Mists. Part 5, The Mysterious Island. Part 6, The Secretosaurus Rock. Part 7, The Stone of Cold Fire. Part 8, The Big Freeze. This one I thought the Ice Age was going to come and get them all. And that's not what happened at all. Not like the finale of Dinosaurs in 1990, whatever year that was. It started in 91. Part 9, Journey to Big Water. Part 10, The Big Long Neck Migration. Part 11, Invasion of the Tinosauruses. Part 12, The Great Day of the Flyers. Part 13, The Wisdom of Friends. Part 14, Journey of the Brave. So, I don't really remember much about up through 13. I watched those so many years ago. I cannot recall. They all run together. They're all kind of the same. Those subtitles are probably more self-explanatory. But I can tell you a little bit about part 14, because 14 is the one I did not watch until just recently in preparation for this. So part 14 kind of seems to be like a little bit of a copy and a paste of the first one in different ways, but in the opposite way. Part 1, they're trying to get to the Great Valley because Littlefoot wants to find his grandparents. Part 14, they start in the Great Valley. Littlefoot out of nowhere finds out he's got a dad. They just kind of drop that on you out of nowhere. It's like, hey, here's your dad that we've been not talking about for 14 movies. Here he is. You have a dad, and his dad decided that he's like too good to hang out with him in the Great Valley. So he goes and he's like hanging out with this random herd. So Littlefoot anxiously awaits for his dad to return every year, and even though years and years go by, they never grow up. It's like the Simpsons, they're the same. Then, he's waiting for his dad to return at the start of the movie. Oh boy, my dad's coming back. And then the whole herd comes into their valley except his dad. And so he's like, oh, what's going on with my dad? And the rest of the dinosaurs are like, oh boy, it was a terrible tragedy. We could have helped your dad, but we just didn't. And he's stuck back there. There was a volcano. Who knows? Fate unknown. We're just not going to deal with it. And then Littlefoot's like, whoa, he's my dad, though. And he's trying to get people to come with him to go rescue his dad. And, no one's willing to, except his, friends. So then it's the reverse of part 1. So then they're leaving the Great Valley to go find Littlefoot's dad. And, there's even, little beats that they do borrow from Petrie, and there's different, whatever. It's fine. And then at the end, lo and behold, they run into Littlefoot's dad, who's stuck there. He's like, oh, my foot's stuck in a thing. It's too bad all my friends left me. And they're like, don't worry, we'll rescue you, Littlefoot's dad. And they do, just in the nick of time. There's also a sharp tooth following them around. There's a new, scary-looking sharp tooth. And again, they have to outwit that sharp tooth, rescue his dad, and then they go back to the Great Valley together, yay, happily ever after. And that's The Land Before Time 14. I'm recapping these so you don't have to watch them, unless you really want to. That would take several weekends to watch all 14 of these movies. But don't forget, there's also a television series, folks. And that ran for 26 episodes. I watched a couple of those episodes back in the day. And, it's not great, but, it's not bad. It's very much on par with all the sequels. It's bright, it's colorful, it's preschool. There are song and dance numbers in each episode. There is a big bad. It's a new, sharp tooth type character, and then he's got a couple of velociraptors that follow him around. And that's the show. I didn't watch the whole show. I just could not. There were enough episodes as is. I've seen enough of this franchise. And so that's the franchise in a nutshell. And again, I do this so you don't have to. But if you really want to, go ahead, just set some time aside. It's going to be a long journey. And there you have it, Land Before Time. So, now that we're done with that, let me just tease ahead a little bit to next week, which is going to be more dinosaurs. I already did name drop what next week's Flick of the Week is going to be. Another Steven Spielberg property, more dinosaurs, pretty predictable what it's going to be. I also plan to have a good buddy here who is a big expert in this field, and he and I will be talking about this particular film and this property together. That is the plan for next week. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Wow, like medals to you, hats off to you for sitting through this entire thing if you did. So, anyway, thanks for tuning in, my friends. And until next week, stay spooky, everybody.